All right. So yeah, I wanted to have a call with Ruben and Larsa and record it for the benefit of Ben Martin. It's obviously in the evening, so he's unable to join us from Australia. So I wanted to go over the release of the so how we're going to kind of release the program initially. Are we going to make this a web app, or are we going to make it a desktop app that uses web technologies? How tightly do we want to tie it to FontForge? And if it's a desktop app, then can we use Metapolator math or other bits of software? Either the ATK or FontForge to compile the fonts. Yeah, so there's the distribution thing. I just kind of put there, I guess. And then I'm super curious about how it's going with the development of the interpolator. Larsa said that he's got a kind of demo he's on his own thing.
Yes, we're quite excited about that, precisely because it only involved coding in CPS, pretty much, other than some fixes.
Okay.
So, in other words, this is just so. In other words, the idea is that we should be able to hook into CPS to do what we need to do, rather than actually having sort of fundamental new mechanisms.
Right.
With this is all made possible by the new formula language.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess we should, take a screencast from you or Larsa to see it, and then kind of figure out the roadmap for the next few weeks. So the project's going to come under quite a lot of scrutiny in the next few weeks, as I'm finding out what we're going to be doing next year. And so, I'm, as always, very nervous about everything because I feel like, Prototypo have got a great website. They, occasionally have been posting these updates on their Kickstarter saying that they're working with hobby spines and this and that and the other. And, it's going to be, I think, important to have the project kind of more together. So that's kind of like the web and promotion aspect of it. And so a big part of that would be kind of having kind of user documentation. So with Larsa kind of leaving the coding aspects to focus on designing, then I think that that's going to help a lot with that aspect. Because people can see what they can do with it.
Right.
So yeah, so there's the kind of distribution, the interpolation, the engineering roadmap, and the kind of user visibility roadmap. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss?
Not for me. That's covering everything I would want to talk about. Those headings.
I think it's okay for me too. I mean, the roadmap is, it belongs together. So we need to talk about both things, anyways. So, just I don't know who's going to start.
So for the distribution, then you've been talking about this kind of harmony stuff. I'm not sure I fully understand what it is about.
Okay, this is basically just some JavaScript features that come in ECMAScript 6. They're standardized features. They're implemented in Firefox, and they're not fully implemented in Node or WebKit yet, but they'll be coming because they're being standardized sort of sometime this year, I think.
Right.
So, in line with the general sort of building for now rather than building for last year, that seemed to be a reasonable thing to use.
Yeah.
And we've got a shim so that it'll work on Node, and it works in Chrome already if you just flip one of the developer switches.
Right. So, but it works on Firefox.
And it works on Firefox out of the box, has done for years, yeah.
Right. So okay, so that is there. So what other reasons are there that we would want to distribute as a desktop application?
Sorry, to distribute as a
desktop application.
Well, I guess the main one is so that you can use it on the desktop. You can use it when you're disconnected. In the sense that at the moment you can obviously do that. You can run it locally, and we've made that fairly lightweight in the with Vagrant. But as Peter's reaction was sort of horrified when he thought for a minute maybe we were suggesting this might be what users want to do. So obviously you might still do it like that underneath, but you'd certainly make it package it up nicely. And I think, as you said, in any case, it might well make more sense to do it with I've forgotten the name now, but this Node WebKit package. So because since it all runs in that, then having it packaged effectively with a browser and everything, and it just goes. That would seem like a more obvious way to package it for end users if you were going to package it as a desktop app.
Other reason is that classical web app would need a lot more engineering on the server side, like user management and whatever, a lot of stuff, like concurrency handling. So what if someone opens the thing in two browsers at the same time or whatever?
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's better controllable, like when you have it local.
That's not what I mean though, because what I mean is just that at the moment everything runs client side. Is that right?
What is everything?
Red
yeah, probably yes. On the server is the server is running. It's serving files obviously and the project data, but the code is executed without callbacks to the server.
Right, and you can drag local files into the browser. Yeah,
we are doing that. We are serving the files from the disk to the browser via our own server. So yeah, and we can save files on the disk with the server.
But what about without a server?
Then we don't know where to point the browser.
No, I mean, the Red Pill demo is being served without it's just an HTTP server.
Yes, of course, but yes, Red Pill has at the moment no way to save stuff, but it would be easily to implement that thing.
Right.
But it would require the server to save it on the disk. Also, Red Pill is just one static project that is you can't change it, whatever. It's just so yeah. If you don't need to change things in the project, it's static. But if you want to change things, you must do this somewhere. So.
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
We could also try to create. We have this file system abstraction thing, and we could make all this stuff in the browser using local storage or stuff like that. But currently, we are using a RESTful API that allows us to write files to disk. This is basically what we need our server for. And to serve, of course, all the code, and to serve the project data. And so what we are also doing is, without server even, is initializing the project from command line, importing fonts from the command line, stuff like that. So this is all stuff that happens even without server, just from the command line. All we serve is the red pill interface and the current state of the project.
Mm-hmm. So, to add import and export functions to the red pill web page, you use Metapolator with their own front data and get it out again, is going to be possible.
It's impossible?
It's going to be possible.
Got a bad connection. Sorry. Yeah.
I said we can add to the red pill demo 2 features. To import a UFO.zip and one to export a set of instances zip.
So yeah, so next thing. Okay, import UFO via a zip file is doable and shouldn't take too long, because Alex prepared like zip file import already somewhere, so we can read those UFO files and we can I think import it. And I'm not so sure. So maybe if you really want to, yeah. So it should work. It would need some. Well, currently I must think. If we need to work on the file system abstraction or so to make this work, probably. So, but we would then import it, I think, to the local disk, and I don't know if this is like the way to go, or if this is just a small part of a bigger problem. What we want to have is, I think, not just import it for the sake of import it via the web browser, because the import as it is now it's okay. I think you can just, I mean, you're running it locally, you're using the command line, it works. Then no, we can make an import, but is this really solving your problem, or is this just one tiny bit that you think would be nice to have, or whatever, of a bigger problem? I mean, because it's possible, but I don't know if it's the solution, or if it's solving the problem, you know?
Well, so the question is about the distribution, and so it sounds like we don't need to use Node WebKit. We don't need to, because it doesn't need a server-side logic. It doesn't need any server-side logic for the UFO part, right?
We really need the server side currently. So yeah, so that's one thing. We can even import stuff into projects. It's possible. I don't know how fast we will do it, but everything is there from the browser into the project. It should be possible, but we may want to have like file system abstraction running in the browser because you want to get rid of the server side dependency. So this is so should everything be doable in the browser without having a server-side component somewhere, correct?
Yeah, I mean, what is the server-side component doing at the moment? Just loading files off the disk and saving and writing them back again, right?
Yeah, but writing them back again is like a serious task. I mean, and serving them is a serious task also, because if you don't serve the data file, you need to get it from somewhere else. So maybe using local storage, but we don't have. I think Alex started some local storage adapter for our I/O things, so we should use that and drag a UFO, a Metapolator project zip into the browser, so we don't have to serve it from somewhere else. So that would require some work, but it's like we know how to do this, but we would have to finish that job. And to export instances, UFO instances, we can do that as well, I think. This is not because because this is all, we don't have dependencies to the server to do such things. That's right. So then we can get rid of the persistency layer, what's it called, on the server, the disk writing stuff, whatever, and do it in local storage somehow. And I don't know how good we are with writing zip files. I think there are some JavaScript libraries. Alex used one. I think it's a common one. So just let's hope that it's good enough for us, I think. But yeah, so yeah, then we wouldn't have. I don't know if there are restrictions using local storage. I don't know. Well, but okay, but this would be okay for the users, I think. So they could go to a web page which is totally statically served and say initialize a project, and it would do so on a basically on local storage.
Yes.
And then you could import a UFO by dropping it into the browser, or say open UFO zip. This would be doable too, I think. Then manipulating the project would be doable as well. And saving it, I mean, we don't do saving at the moment. It's really just, but it's not hard to do. We just don't do it for no reason, basically. Okay. Then it would be saved in the local storage, and then exporting it would be something like writing as like the same we do with exporting instances, right? We would write it to a zip file, basically. Okay, so this can be done. I think it's some work, but it's basically possible, yeah.
Okay. So right, so then the other thing that desktop distribution might be used for is the compiling of binaries. But if we can have the browser create the instances, then it can push that zip to a REST API endpoint, and then I'm sorry.
Bless you.
And then a web service can return the binary font files.
Yeah. different options here, I think. We can.
I'm interested what the motivation is in the sense of the way most things work at the moment is you run them on your local machine and you can access the local file system. Things which are really tedious to do from a web application. Why do we want to do things differently?
Because if it runs in the browser, then to use Metapolator, all you have to do is go to metapolator.com.
Yes. So for example, I can see that you can have like a zero install option where you just go to a website and you do the usual sorts of things that you do, say with Google Docs. You drag your files onto it and you can save things which then come as browser downloads. But but then you're running it on a server, and that's because you're running it on Google server, and that's fine. And equally, you can have a version that's just completely packaged up and runs on your local machine in a different browser binary, which means that you can give it access to the local file system, right? You don't have the problems that you do when you're running it live in a browser, and it works like an application that people know how to use. And both of those things are things we can do. It seems rather more easily than this kind of. I think the thing I don't quite understand is what's the point of having it running locally in a browser, and sort of trying to work out how you're going to get access to your local file system. And that's the bit I don't understand.
I'm not interested in the local file system. Like you said, we can have the file.
So why does it need to run completely on the client then?
Because we don't have any. I guess if it runs completely on the client, then it's it means that we don't have to maintain any server infrastructure.
Right, but I guess it kind of depends on the interface, because as it is, all you're really getting is an up-to-date version of the application from the server and maybe some interpretation. I guess it's really the sort of the user experience I'm trying to understand, in the sense that as a user I understand, if you like, Google Docs on the one hand and LibreOffice on the other, and this seems to be something else. And I guess it's also something we haven't heard about on the design side. I've sort of seen like obviously all the various mock-ups of parts of the user interface, but not in terms of this sort of intermediate version of how it works with your data.
Yeah. Okay. So having it all run on the client side, no, it's not very important. The point is that at the moment we do have something that depends on running on the server, because we need to compile UFOs, and there is no UFO to binary compiler in JavaScript. I think that the reason we're having stuff run on this is a software freedom strategy, that if you have a GPL application and it is entirely client-based, then the GPL is effective for web apps. And if there's a server-side part, then it means that we have to maintain a server, and it means that the property left isn't as strong.
Sorry, the last bit. I didn't just the last after.
Popular isn't so strong.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so the point is that for me is that I was unclear about the harmony stuff, so that's been clarified.
Okay.
We can do the importing and exporting. And we need to decide what we're going to do for binary compilation, or are we going to completely delegate that and just say this is UFO only?
Right. Yes. Is there a reason? I mean, it's certainly. Obviously, in the longer term, many things might be possible, desirable, but in the sort of is exporting something in a format other than UFO something that you're really wanting in your sort of 1.0? Because I guess it's not obvious to me in the sense that the killer feature of Metapolator has nothing to do with its file format support.
I think the path we talked about how to do it is just to have somewhere a web service that would consume UFOs and return binaries.
Mm-hmm.
So this is,
or if you're wanting, I mean, if you're sort of nervous type who doesn't like sending any of your bits offsite of your precious creations, then I guess you can just load the UFO into FontForge.
of course,
you're done, right?
Of course. So it's very decoupled, I think, from UFO.js. We just would have to know where the service runs and then send it the data with a push post probably, or get, I don't know.
Okay. So the next thing was interpolation.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm still not clear on the conclusion about this distribution point. So we think that having a REST API is going to be the best thing.
Sorry, so was that a question?
Yeah.
I didn't hear just the end of it. Did you say something about having a REST interface?
Having a web service that you send a UFO to and it brings you back a binary, and
yes,
that's something which we're going to hand off to Frank Trampe, and he can do independently.
Right.
But this is a thing that we could use if we run in the client or locally. I think this is. We just need the address of the service and we can use it. Or you may, if you run locally, start your own service.
Yeah.
And maybe configure somehow your Metapolator to use your local service or something like that. But this can be very. I think we just agree that the service does this, and we need a URL to the service, and that's all.
Okay.
And then we don't have a lot to do, I think, with it. And we just need to decide what the service is going to do exactly. I mean, maybe one thing is returning a zip of a lot of UFOs, but another possibility would be to just create web font like a directory where those UFOs can directly be accessed, because then we could use them directly in previews from the web service without having to download anything or so. And if someone is developing open source fonts, he wouldn't mind if there's something public. So that's okay. Would be one option. I don't know. So we don't even need to really download the binaries. We can just use them directly. Well, I'm not sure, but we can download them as well, I think, and use them as data URLs or something like that. It's possible too. So did we do we have a decision what like the client side or desktop with server model is? Do we need a decision, or did I miss it? It's gone. Ruben?
Yes. What? Sorry. No, we don't. I don't think there's anything.
Dev is gone, and you are not answering.
We don't. I don't think we need. I don't think we need a decision. No.
We don't need a decision. Okay.
I don't know. I don't see that any of this is intimately coupled to what we're doing. I mean, yeah, as you said at the beginning, for some of the potential scenarios, we'd need to do something. Welcome back. For some of the potential scenarios, we need to do something that we haven't already done, or that there may be little bit of extra coding to do. But I don't see that any of it's. I mean, the whole point of developing it in the way we've developed, in the way you've developed most of it, is that you can run it pretty much any way you like, right? So So I don't see that it's it's not going to affect any kind of fundamental.
Yeah, definitely.
All the I/O is abstracted. It's all in JavaScript, which can run happily in a browser, on the client, on the server. None of this is a problem. We can however it's being distributed, it can be distributed that way. That's fine.
Yeah, it would just need some work to have, like, let's say, initialization, import of UFOs, and export of UFOs. Totally in the browser would need some work, but it's not like something that's not possible, I think. But yeah, okay. Good. Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, my laptop was overheating and just turning off.
Not to worry.
So the REST API for compiling UFOs, you think that's the best way to go?
REST API to compile UFOs is great, I think. Question is what we are requiring from it. So maybe we should set up a document and define or see what is maybe the best thing to do it. Because I can think of some scenarios and you can think of some others, and maybe we get a good vision for it in the end. So Frank can just start to implement it. But generally, RESTful is good. Sending UFOs there, getting something back is good.
And so the alternative would be having it as a Node WebKit application on the desktop, and then having the FontForge or the Adobe Font Developer Kit. And then it would all run that way.
Actually, we could even then build it as a REST API if we'd like to.
I guess at this point, if you're starting to use third-party code that doesn't easily run in the browser, then it's easier to make it run either as a packaged application or as a server-side thing, and less easy to make it run all in the client side on the browser. And again, so then it comes down to how much you care and about the question overall, but also I suppose how it affects particular features, I guess. So if it's for an isolated feature, you might be less worried than if it was for a sort of fundamental part of the system. And I guess with the Adobe code, it's being concrete. It's in Python, so it may or may not be friendly with things like Sculpt that run Python in the browser or some drastic.
The FDK is a C++ core, but Python is just the wrappers around it.
So the SDK is, yes. Oh, sure. And okay, so that's not a very nice thing to have to load into a browser, but it can be done. And then it depends what you're using it for. If you're using it for, say, for interpolating, then obviously it needs to run in the browser. If you want to run the application browser.
We're just talking about the compilation of an instance UFO that we finished with.
In that case, then obviously you don't. Yes, you can present it as a web service.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But when it's C++, it should be. Does it compile with LLVM?
Yeah. So, I'm not sure which one it uses, but it compiles on a plenty.
Because I think LLVM is good to create ASM.js.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So we could maybe the font development kit is in the future a good tool to make this stuff happen in the browser. But not short time. I think short time we are better off with a server-side API or something that is not done by us. I mean, this thing can do everything we need to, so just
right. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I mean, I think that making a Python web server which uses a Python FontForge module, and then just takes a zip, unzips it with a standard Python zip library, and then opens it with the FontForge library, and then generates the OTF and returns it to the user is very simple. So I think that may be the best thing. Yeah.
Right.
And then as the second step, we could look at running the FDK through mscripting.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, for the interpolator, Lars, do you want to share your screen and show me what you got?
Yes. it's interesting because I'm having just a commit in the running. one second. I'm just checking out the right branch. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. Screen share, right?
Yeah.
So I am in a project that I prepared, running REPL. Opening it in my, it's already opened. Wow, it's already open. Very good. Just using the ACE because then everything fits on the screen. And I have three masters. This is base, the base master, which is basically this is all the font data that I imported.
Yeah.
And this is the file that describes how to put it back together. And then I made a bold master which has only one CPS file, no data file, and it uses basically this thing to pull all the parameters from the base master.
Yeah.
Which is done with a little trick which helps us to always reference the equivalent node of the base master in the current master. So so this is the other script, and the making it bold is happening here. It's just taking the length of the base master and multiplying it with 1.5. Can make it like it's the right one. So did something happen? I can also make it like a light one by just so still the right one. So this is the bold master. So I'm going to make it bold again.
Ah, yes, okay. So I'm just playing along here. Yes.
And then I made. Ruben and I were trying to create to make sense out of how to do interpolation, and then we found out that it should be possible doing it with CPS. So the next thing I did is I made this interpolated CPS, which is again the only CPS file for the interpolated master. This is the left one, the one here.
Yeah.
I think this is I think we don't need it, but I don't remove this remove it right now because maybe I would break something or so. Basically, the same idea as in the bold master is we have this code to set up references to the equivalent elements, but this time on equivalent A is master base, and equivalent B is the element of master bold. And then I set up the proportions of A that are going into the mix and the proportions of B that are going into the mix. And this is the rule that that pulls the data from base and bold and interpolates them and outputs them on those values. And I think the rest. This is the same rule as our standard centerline skeleton to symmetric thing has. This one.
I like this.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all. So to interpolate the on length. So important is now that we are doing metapolation as Peter was asking for. Exactly. Huh?
I said even insisting.
Insisting for, yes, exactly. So because although we are pulling all values, we are only using the values in this context here. So the on-curve point of our outlines of the left and right, the on-curve points are calculated from our on-length and on dir, and these are created. The on-length is created here. So and this is we're using the length value, multiply it with the proportion, which is 0.5, and add to it the on length of the B master and multiply that one before addition, obviously. So and now we can play around with these values. So when I mix 0 of proportion A and 1 of proportion B into it, I should get the bold master, the same result as this one, left and right are equal.
Yeah.
and this is no the other way around, just to show.
Sorry, I just can't help breaking here. I've just been doing some experiments in exactly the same view on my own computer while you've been describing this, and I noticed a very interesting thing, which is that if the proportions don't add up to 1, you see it to get very strange results, and I'd be interested to know why. I mean, even for example, if one of them is positive and the other is negative, but they do add up to 1, you still get a sensible result, actually. I just tried with A is minus a quarter and B is 1 1/4, for example.
That's really interesting. So what one thing that I'm going to show is, okay, we had 0.5. I'm doing one more of those, this is more on the side of A. And then I'm showing a extrapolation. So this is closer to this one than to this one. And then the next thing is that it's interesting that we need to add up to 1, but until we add up to 1, it's really working as
one, yeah.
It's really working. So this is a extrapolation from both.
Yeah.
So it's that's nice, isn't it, Dave? Do you like this?
Very nice.
So, and I can.
What about going the other way? What if you make it
this way?
Oh yes.
At 1.3.
Well, so that's interpolation as it should be, I think. And now the interesting thing, Ruben found out. I found it out too, but I don't really know what's happening there. If we screw the sum and make it bigger or smaller than 1, then our interpolation is just gets something somehow interesting, or making it smaller.
Well, if you do something as simple actually as I think I had 1.5.5 or something, and it goes completely nuts.
Yeah, I think the bigger the difference is, the more nuts it goes.
The glyph just disintegrates. Most of it disappears off the screen, and there's just a few smears left. Yeah, actually, that's a good one. Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing. And in fact, the interesting thing there is, oh no, you did actually use different values for me. Yes, but I get exactly that sort of thing, and I have no idea why that happens. I'd love to know, because I'm just expecting that if the proportions don't add up to 1. Then, apart from anything else, the scale should just be different, right? The letter should either be too big or too small.
But that's interesting, because we're doing like metapolation way before we are generating the points. So maybe this somehow, and we are using those tension values that I think they don't behave really linearly and stuff like that. But it's like. It's really strange. So that the uncurved points are wandering around and shooting out of the screen and whatever. So it's interesting, but I think it's no. We just should find out what it exactly is. It's no show blocker, because if we use it like it should be used, and like adding up to 1, then it seems to be perfectly stable.
Well behaved, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but
anyway, so that's
really interesting.
It's interesting more than it's not worrying, I would say as well. But so I think basically in terms of the original sort of have just like a crude interpolation where you can do different proportions from one letter to another. Low, we've basically got that. That's really, I think, and as I said earlier, and the lovely thing about this is that we didn't have to write any, as it were, code. I mean, it's not quite true, but it's all CPS.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I had to do were some bug fixes.
Yeah, sure.
Stuff that I introduced recently, or stuff that we just did not came to, or something. But it did work essentially out of the box. And the other thing that is really cool is that it's quite portable, because it's maybe not 100% portable, but what I was not showing here, it works also, for example, for the E, because the rules just
hash A. Let's see what happens.
So that's really cool thing, is that this is essentially we just need this these descriptions to make a basic interpolation for all the glyphs of the font if they should behave right, I think. Yeah. And even if they don't behave right, we can still come up with ways to do classical interpolation, not this metapolation thing. This is it's all there. You can do it in CPS. So it's really fun to use, and I think I stopped the screen share. Oh, no, I don't stop it. It's nice.
Whoa.
It's endless.
Hall of Mirrors.
Okay, so you seem to say you think that they were slow. It seemed pretty fast to me.
Really? Oh, then. Well, I think you can really feel it how it gets slower when you add the third master or the fourth master or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe it's slow if you're just doing it for all the glyphs in your screen, and maybe there should be a way to protect the.
And I guess there are one or two performance things we don't know about. So, for example, Lasse and I have already talked a little bit about do we actually need to pull all the values through kind of one at a time, or is there some way of just doing the same formula on all of them? Because at the moment, as you can see in the interpolated.cps sort of little program, it's actually the same formula is repeated for every attribute that's being interpolated, and we don't know, I guess, what the overhead is. In the sense that it's all CPS is fully interpreted, right? Every time you pull things, you pull the values, you're reinterpreting the rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may be some of the results are cached, although we were.
No, we are not doing this anymore.
We did, yeah. We got rid of that. Okay, because I guess there are easy ways in which we might want to improve things, and I guess the two obvious ones are caching where it's useful, and also conceivably compiling CPS into JavaScript, so that if you're running some rules a lot of times, you might want to just compile it and. But I mean, in other words, I'm sure there should be plenty of scope for speeding it up.
I would like to have a profiling where it's slow, but so we can see where it makes the most sense to. So because speculating where it's slow is, I think it does not help us very much.
Sure. And that actually kind of feeds into the next thing on your list, Dave, the engineering roadmap.
Yep.
Because it seemed to me that if effectively up to now we've been concentrating on the sort of raw functionality that we need, the ability to handle the UFO files and the ability to do interpolation and the kind of modeling. One thing we could do is precisely wonder about one or two things like performance of key operations in the red pill interface, with the expectation that things that we need to work in the blue pill interface, we can sort of do the underlying whatever it is, other features or performance questions in the red pill interface.
Right.
And so that we have them ready to go when they need to. So I mean, if we need to profile it, if we need to, of course, if we don't, equally we don't have to do it. But
I feel like the user interface in the red pill. I mean, Lasse, how useful do you think that is for your own work?
I think I'm going to add some more stuff to see what's going on. Like, for example, numbered a view where I can see information about the points in the glyphs, like which number has the point, has it a name or something attached to it.
So,
this stuff I'd like to add, and then maybe that's not really crucial, but it could be very helpful to have guidelines. That would be important, and like saving what's in the editor would be helpful. Having a bigger editor window would be very helpful. It's too small, but this is little things. I can do this kind of stuff like on the go when I'm developing it.
Okay.
And when I need to work with it, it's just.
I'm about to say a controversial thing. How do you feel about Peter's proposed interface?
I personally.
Yeah. Now that Jerome has made this slider.
Oh, I like the slider actually pretty much, but I think I'm myself not like the user that Peter has in mind, and I don't feel like he's matching me. So
the slider interface to me seems like if we add a kind of 0 panel, right? Because at the moment there's 3 panels. So if we add a 0 panel to the left of where it currently starts with the red pill interface, then, or rather, the ability to get rid of Peter's parameters panel and replace it with a text entry, which you have in red pill.
Yeah. So I think exactly. I think what the red pill does, or basically it's. I mean, the idea was just to make the write, execute, see what happened, cycle shorter, and this is what the red pill does, and this is for me the most important thing. So
right.
that and since
Peter's first panel, you have the parameters on the left, you have a stage in the middle, and then you have a list of masters on the right. And in red pill, you have parameters in a text edit window, stage for previewing, and then there's a drop down with a list of masters.
You can pick one, but I guess there's no reason why.
So, but this is for me. It's just functionality-wise, where those controls are located is really not important for me. I think just need them.
Right. So it seems that then for the roadmap, then we have the REST API for UFO to TTF compilation is something to hand off to Frank Krampe.
Yeah, this is a good one. And then what you mentioned it, having Metapolator export good UFOs that play well with a direct import, with a direct like compilation to binaries.
Yeah.
Which might involve import that keeps more files around. Because I don't think that our focus is on really changing those files. Although changing kerning data may be interesting, but it's out of scope, I think, because this is. I'm not sure. We may talk about spacing kerning. This is maybe something we could tackle with CPS as well, because this is going to be interesting to have at least maybe interpolated spacing data, not kerning necessarily. Maybe we can do this with like some hacky script afterwards or so. But spacing inside like alongside of the interpolations would be, I think, good one. Right? Sure.
Yeah, I think very necessary, yes.
Huh?
So currently the CPS interpolation is only interpolating glyph outlines.
Yeah.
So
At the moment.
advanced width value for each glyph, is that imported?
We have it in the skeleton at the moment. I think we just keep it there. I think it's not so hard to have it like available somehow, but we don't do it. It's not like we can't access it or so.
Right.
And we've seen how we would do interpolation, so it's not so. I mean, in the end, advanced width is just a number. It's easy to do. We just need to set up the path of this number through the software.
Yeah.
That it ends up somewhere where it makes sense. As well as, so this is all stuff that is after glyph level, which we are doing currently and which we are not doing so bad, I think, is as well like X height, for example. I mean, we can at the moment, I think we can play around with X height and stuff, and let like set up glyphs so they can adapt to X height. But is it important to have? I think it's important to have that number in the UFO at the end, so we should get it out somehow, right?
Yeah.
So
to be honest with you, I'm not sure about that. So much of UFO is optional that I'm not sure it's important.
So okay, maybe we can do a kind of a lazy lazy approach to this problem and just see what we really need and then see that we implement it. Then so when I and Simon and Niklas start to build stuff, we will, I think, find out that we need values like blues values or X height or whatever. Or we don't need it because FontForge is very smart when interpreting font data.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say right now. We're only focused on making like glyphs and this kind of skeleton work possible. We did not focus on all the data that belongs to the font as well.
Yeah.
Which is like really connected to the make good instance exports, like good UFO exports. This is maybe a longer running task until we are happy with it. But so having a basic export should be easy, but adding more and more data that is useful and creates better outlines is, or not better outlines, but better font data. I think this is maybe we need to gather experience.
Yeah.
So REST API export. Next topic.
Oh, well, there's this merging of the red pill and the blue pill, right? There's
Merging.
the red pill and blue pill.
Sorry.
Merging red pill and blue pill.
Merging red pill and blue pill. Thank you, Ruben. Yes, interesting. So the red pill is currently very easy in what it does, but maybe because it just it just throws away a lot of caches when you say re-evaluate and loads the stuff, loads all the CPS files again and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what we want to have in the end with the blue pill and probably with the red pill too is having like not this like a finer approach where we just change what actually changed and then propagate the changes to the UI, and the UI just updates what really changed, what was affected from the change. So I think this is something that will come, but what we could do is for example, make kind of take Peter's blue pill interface design, and I mean we can even make like the export thing. We could make it working without like caring too much about how the data is updated or whatever, for example, or just maybe we could just start a red pill that looks like the blue pill, and then we still need this soon probably, I think, the idea how to make this connection, to make the API for interfaces and stuff like that.
No, I'm sorry, but I'm confused. You said that red pill is not that much.
No, it's not much. No, but it's not very intelligent. It's just a big hammer.
So why wouldn't you plug those little pieces into the blue pill?
We can do it, but it's not getting us closer to the final vision of the blue pill. But we can use the work of Jeroen already, so that would be a good one.
Yes.
Obviously, it looks better than what we are doing.
Right.
In the red pill.
Jeroen's put a fair amount of effort into what's currently the blue pill, and again, I'll say something controversial like that. Peter insists that it must be in certain ways, but I think this is a misunderstanding of the dynamics of the distribution of power in this project. Because he's providing suggestions for what the developers do.
Okay. So yeah, so I don't see that there's a problem to have just the red pill implanted into the blue pill and start from there, because the design looks good, and it will make like it easier to sell the thing, because whatever, people are like that. So I think it's definitely possible. It's basically maybe for the beginning just a restyling of the red pill, and we will still have a lot of work to make a very good user experience out of it. But it's certainly a beginning, I think.
Yeah. Because I think that would make it much easier for me to kind of rally to the project if what you've just demonstrated is possible was in the Peter's interface.
Yeah.
Concept, and we would say, well, yes, we're going to replace this code stuff with a panel, but yes, the rest of the user inject stuff is just mock-up. It doesn't actually do anything. But where you're talking about being able to identify points.
That sounds sort of fairly. Are you saying that sounds fairly similar to the way it would actually look in the blue pill?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's really my point. Is that you now are very close to having a tool that you are going to actually use for your own work. I think it would be it's critical that tool have a kind of demo version.
Yeah.
anyone can use and play with some values and press refresh and see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'd be interested in in actually for stuff like this we should maybe add still some features, like, because what I did actually when creating those two new masters, both the interpolated master and the boat master, was I was throwing away most of the setup that Metapolator does when interpolating, importing fonts, and just I was just writing my own stuff. This is I was creating my own files.
Yeah.
I was saying which files to use.
Yeah.
In those masters. So maybe we should have ways to do this stuff from the red pill, and as you said, maybe the import would be interesting, but that's a thing I think it's not so crucial for me to have the import inside of that thing.
Yeah.
But to be able to set up those new masters and stuff like that will be, I don't need it either. So for me, it's just I can do it like with my file system, so that's okay. But for demo, it's maybe better to have like something like that. Or we come up with a way to. Oh, we talked about something like add import from CSS to import other CPS files inside of CPS, like CSS does, actually, which would make the setup of a master much easier because it happens only in CPS, and we can already like edit CPS files.
Yeah. Does that mean that we can get around the cross-origin restriction?
No. Do we have cross-origin problems?
We do if it's JavaScript, right?
Yeah, but we are not. Oh, so one cross-origin problem may be to maybe like the binary UFO to binary REST API, but I think there's a workaround because the REST API would
that server, the binary UFO compiler can use CORS, CORS, to make its files available to other domains.
Yeah.
The question that I'm saying is that if you have an @import rule and then you have some CPS file on some other server, then
oh yeah, no, so yeah, the @import rule at the moment we would have all CPS files in one directory wherever they are located, and we would read probably just from that directory, but we could also add something that tries to read from a URL or something like that.
That's not what. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you meant.
Yeah, but we are not doing that. No, we're just at the moment we are having like what you've seen in that interface showing you.
Okay.
Essentially, this what you're seeing here is here bold has one CPS file, base has two CPS files. This is set up at the moment in Project YAML. This is our setup for masters, and this is the important information of it, and the skeleton, of course.
Yeah.
So, and this setup could happen via @import rules inside of CPS. So every master would have one CPS file only that it references, and this CPS file would care about loading other CPS files that are around that. So we wouldn't have to make setting up this stuff available in a interface. Maybe just the only information we would need to set up is one file for the master, not a chain of files, not like a list of files.
Yeah.
And the skeleton it uses, probably.
Right, and the skeleton is the mom.
The skeleton, yeah. Right, the skeleton is what we use to build the mom. We run like through all the skeleton is a glyph with layer, a UFO version 3 glyph layer, with glyphs that have like not outlines but not closing contours that describe our skeleton, and we use this to load our mom. Or it's basically we translate it into a structure in our memory that is the Metapolator object model.
Yeah.
So yeah, the skeleton is responsible for the layout of the structure. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of the skeleton is the mom. Yeah, right. It provides the data that we use to build the mom. How many points are there? How many contours are there? This stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess maybe if we, I'm just going to share my screen, and then if we can go to the roadmap. So we've then got this Google Doc. Okay, so the interpolation, how much more work has got to be done on that?
It's a good question. I think we need maybe some tools to make it easier to do such things. But the really interesting thing is that we basically have a crude interpolation.
Yeah.
We can't just do it.
So from what I've seen, I'm feeling very satisfied with what you've just demonstrated.
And it's very flexible, so we can come up with whatever ways.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I guess essentially, we need to. I'm speaking as something of an outsider on the actual font part. I guess it needs to be maybe tested with a few more fonts. I mean, the main question is the form of the interpolation.cps file that we have, is that sufficiently general? And I mean, essentially, could we wrap it up and just have that's an interpolate command? So that you say that interpolate. Say that I mean, you know, if you imagine an interpolate command line command that you would just say interpolate these masters, these proportions, would it just be sufficient for that command to insert that CPS file in the pipeline, as it were, in the whatever we call it, the CPS chain? Because if it is, then we're basically done on the basic technology, it seems to me.
Yeah.
As you say, it's nice to have a slightly simpler way to do it maybe in the Red Pill interface. That might be an interesting thing to talk about. I mean, most of the ideas that occur to me when I've been looking at it so far are actually just folding everything into, as far as possible, into the text editor. So that, for example, you have the CPS files where currently, you know, you've got sort of the select file just lets you edit one or the other.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they couldn't just all be displayed in the same editor, concatenated, because after all, that's what it means when you have a list of CPS files. Effectively, they're just concatenated, and the editor.
Did you try to select multiple files?
So in that case, it just puts up multiple editors.
Sorry, I'll be back in a second.
Yeah.
Sure. So it would be nice if it didn't have to do that. If it was just one folding editor, because then in particular you'd be able to reorder the files without needing any additional user interface element. And I guess for the masters, it would be useful if that was in theory, if that were a tick.
How do you decide which file is which when you reorder it? Is there like magical comments in it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought of. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'd imagine in the first instance you just have an actual textual comment at the start of each file, but it might be convenient to have in this. I mean, there's folding. CodeMirror supports folding, right? And as far as I can tell, it's pretty hookable. Like you can tell it, what to do and also what to display when it's folding. So magic comments was pretty much what I had in mind. Yeah, but then the more that you can do just by using the editor, the better. And one other thing I thought, so for example, similarly, because it seems to me you basically only need two editors. You know, one for the sort of all the data, as it were, which is the CPS editor, and one which is the selector, which is basically just telling it what to display. So, for example, it would be nice if the size could actually be part of the selector, and it would also be nice if the update preview button disappeared, so that all you had to do was just keep typing and change what you were doing. It just starts recomputing again.
Yeah, I had it, but it was really like because it's hard to decide when to kick it off, and it's.
Is it possible? Is it possible to run it in such a way that it's not stopping you from typing? In other words, in another thread. So that, in other words, you kick it off, but then if you carry on typing, you just kill it and kick it off again.
Might be possible using web workers, for example, but I don't know how good this stuff is in getting data back from a web worker or stuff like that. But yeah, something in that. So the only way to do real multi-threading in a web browser is web workers, and they did like put some effort in it that it's hard to break the browser by using web workers. So
it's easy to break, or
it's hard to break. But so yeah, so they are.
Oh, so it's good stuff. It's good shit, is what they're saying.
Yeah, I think it's okay, but it's you need to copy around a lot of data. You need to duplicate it, stuff like that.
And in general, I was thinking it'd be nice that if as much as possible, whatever other features we need to add to Red Pill could be added without actually having to add any user interface elements. So that, for example, you know, if we need some way of just saying interpolation, like we want to be able to do includes. We've already got that on our list, and you know, so in other words, you basically are really just writing CPS. It's a nice way of program. It's a nice interface for programming a font. And if we just make it good at that, then we use maximum flexibility. And I think also, in a sense, it's good for the sort of red pill, blue pill divide, in the sense that we're obviously not trying to compete, and you know, we're not going to be worrying anyone that red pill is kind of turning into a sort of hacky blue pill in a sort of worse is better sort of way.
I'm totally not interested in that. But I think the only thing what worries me a bit is that we need, and I've not seen anything like that we will need a strategy to react in the blue pill, to react on, like, when we're doing bleeding edge stuff in the red pill, so that the blue pill can still handle it, or at least detect it and not handle it, or say, okay, you did something I can't handle, use the red pill to repair it or to handle it.
Right. So sorry, I actually have to go in a minute, but I'll just sort of précis what I was just saying to Lasse, to Dave, now that you're back in the room. Hello again, Dave. I was just saying that it seemed to me that in general, as regards the sort of development both of the underlying technologies that we need for the user interface, both Blue Pill and Red Pill, and for the sort of relationship between Blue Pill and Red Pill, and making it a sort of healthy one. And also keeping Red Pill simple. My basic sort of vision, if you like, was just to put as much as possible into the CPS editor. So that, for example, in the current Red Pill interface, which you may or may not have on your screen in front of you now, you have a list of CPS files which you can select, and you get multiple editors. Now, CodeMirror, which we're using here for the editor, supports folding, so that could just be one editor. And then once you've just got one editor, you can reorder the files by reordering bits in your editing window. Similarly, the glyph selector, maybe it's possible to fold the glyph size into the selector. So you really just have two things. You have one thing saying, a selector saying, what am I displaying? And then you have another thing, which is an editor. And you do all your operations like interpolation, everything basically except getting data in and out, just in the editor. And that means that there's nothing, the Red Pill is basically just a nice editor for programming fonts, and that any functionality that you want to access from or expose to Blue Pill, it's all there in a very uniform way because it's all accessed via CPS. It's just completely uniform. So we don't have to get into the business of, just as I said earlier, we're not having to build an interpolation command from the CLI, because you can already just run arbitrary CPS. Yeah. In the same way, you can just wire up arbitrary operations to the Blue Pill interface. And also, I think it may be in a sort of slightly political or whatever sort of, as you said earlier, power dynamic sort of way. The nice thing about that is that it doesn't start adding things maybe other than the sort of things that Lasse was talking about in terms of visual feedback, so points, names, guidelines, but it doesn't start adding user interface elements in which make it look as though there's a danger of the Red Pill becoming a sort of worse is better Blue Pill. Mm-hmm. See what I mean? So in other words, it really is just it's text driven. Yeah. And then you have some sort of display. So it's and that's it. And it's a nice sort of pure, simple thing. Mm-hmm. And also we don't spend any more time on its interface. You know, the interface effort can all be on the Blue Pill interface. The Red Pill interface is just editor, display, selector, bang. And what we make richer is the language that we're using in the editor and the selector, and the visual feedback, which is all stuff that's directly used in Blue Pill as well, and that way.
Interface, yeah, right. One thing, because you said you want the size thing in the selector box, I think it's user interface. It's display content, and it's so stupidly simple implemented. You don't want to move it around really.
Right. Anyway, as I said, I really do have to go now. So
all right.
Thank you. I'll see you in the morning, I think. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, nice. Mm-hmm.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Cool. So yeah, I think Ruben's idea about using CodeMirror as concatenation is cool. And as I say, I think that kind of fits my fourth panel thing.
Yeah, I mean the idea to just merge it early is totally okay for me. Just maybe we can have a switch for people who are actually working with it that just hides everything that is mock-up. Yeah, switch, or so that don't have to work with like a wall of not functioning controls or something.
I don't know. I mean, the way the Blue Pill works at the moment is that you can slide the columns, right?
You don't have to slide. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You can just push that column out. and then you can take the parameters panel, click it, it turns into the code mirror box, and it gets wider. Right.
So, well, so yeah, it's okay for me to merge this stuff, and I think Ruben has good ideas, especially like his concerns about how to make it even simpler. I think I like that, and making CPS more powerful is good too. But it was like we were like, you know, trying to write code that does our interpolation, and at some point we just said, oh wait, we can do it with CPS. So this was really so interesting, I think. We should just explore the thing more.
Yeah, so going back to the document.
Yeah.
So for point 3, so something I put there was to test the output against mutator math, right?
Can you show it to me?
I'm sorry, I can revert that. I can't find you on the chat.
Can't find me on the chat. Chat. Oh, here. Ready. Hangouts. Huh? Did you had a screen share before?
Yeah,
but
okay.
You don't...
I can screen share, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
So for interpolation, something I think would be good to do is to test the output against mutator math, right?
So that we can do what exactly?
To prove that it produces the same output that mutator math does.
Okay, but when we are using a metapolation strategy, there's nothing mutator math could do. But if we are doing something like normal interpolation, we may be able to compare the results. But maybe I don't. Yeah. Okay. Should it be in that in that roadmap?
but I mean, from what you showed me, then we have, 2 UFOs.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
With 1 glyph in them, and then we produce a 50-50 interpolation with mutator math and a 50-50 interpolation with CPS.
But this, yeah.
And then we compare the 2 instances.
Yeah, but what we did was metapolation in Peter's sense. We interpolated before we created the outline points, and I think this creates a different result. But we should definitely try out what the other thing would do and compare it if Peter is right and there is a big difference that is changing the game, or if it's just somehow similar.
No. But what Peter's talking about is not relevant to this test.
Yeah, exactly. But what I showed you is relevant to this test.
Indeed.
Because this is what Peter was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
We can do normal interpolation as well. This is the funny thing, that we can just formulate it in CPS. So we could set up something that just does interpolation of one outline in the classical interpolation sense, and we can test if it's similar to what mutator math produces, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this test is possible, but it's it's not. This is just. It's. I think for you, it's just quality control in a way, right? So
Yeah.
that we have basically the same results that metadata math can produce if you want to.
Yeah.
Or you do something else because we just created your Swiss Army knife of interpolation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing I'm interested in. So for interpolation, so test output. So two UFOs imported to on CPS.
And I think what's important is that we don't mix up this test with we should just compare the resulting outlines. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the resulting UFO is a much bigger task than just this test.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I think we should call the interpolation done at this point.
Because I think the original task was called crude interpolation, and this is definitely what we can do, and we can export the results because it's just a master in our WAM, and we can export them like every other master. So we are able to create interpolation instances from interpolation.
Right. So that's all done. That's done. So this test is outstanding, and then we're going to ask Ben to do that.
So Ruben wanted to work out some more tools around interpolation, like the interpolate command on the command line, and he wanted to test what we have there. I think he would not agree with having it done, but really, like, yeah, exactly. Good.
Okay. So yeah, let's leave this all to Ruben then. Yeah. Okay. So the interpolate command and interpolate command line. Okay, and then we can copy this and then make this a test. Okay. So Ben is going to work on the export stuff.
Which create, yeah, which where is it? Oh, you sent me the link. I can look at this. It should be my file. Is it? Oh. Yeah. So yeah, there's part of the exporting full UFO instances task is work on importing stuff too, I think.
Yeah.
But so but that's okay. I think it's in the description of the first bullet point. It's kind of included there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Just keep what we import around. So we are not importing it at the moment. So just start to import it and keep it around. Maybe to be, but I think
Okay. So this would be improved UFO.js to import everything.
No, this is not UFO.js. This is just this is in Metapolator. But yeah, import all files or whatever, and keep them around, probably. And later I mean, UFO.js, it would be nice, but to have all those like reading of the higher level UFO files, like font info list and whatever. But this is still a big task we will have to do to finish UFO.js. We're just doing the glyph lib at the moment, not the UFO, not the complete UFO lib. But I think this is a bigger task. You can't do this in a short amount of time. Oh, it depends. If you're not testing so much, it's maybe faster.
I don't know. I mean, isn't it just plist files?
Yeah, but it's it's a big amount of code. Just plist. We have a plist parser there. It works. I had no problems with it ever. But let me have a look at the sources. RoboFab untouched. I'm using this. Branches UFO3K lib. So there's UFO lib. We have stuff like glyph lib, but there's a file. It's under init under pi, which has around 1,800 lines of code.
Mm-hmm.
Which is some management for UFO files, like stuff like that, and I think parsing as well. Read info is one method, for example. Read font info list, it requires stuff like that, and validating stuff in the UFO if the data looks like okay and so on. So at the moment, if we just say it's just plist, we can open it. We do it actually, for example, with the glyph classes. What's it called? Groups plist. We just open it, we parse it as plist, and we just think, okay, it has the right name. It parses as plist, so it will be the content will be okay for us. We don't really validate the content of that structure, and this is something what UFO.js or UFO lib in RoboFab should do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So to read this stuff and see if the contents are making sense,
Mm-hmm.
and to export some of the more interesting stuff in a, let's say, common way, so that we just can use UFO.js for this stuff to open it. But some things, if you like, as for to just look into a groups list and to not validate it and just read it, we can just use our plist parser. That works.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be just if that part would be finished, I think UFO.js would be more complete.
Yeah.
And for copying it around, we don't. I mean, we can use the plist parser to just see if it's plist, but yeah, but don't validate, or we can even just leave it untouched. Oh, or we would maybe leave it untouched. Just see if it, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So that's what Ruben's going to do. That's what Ben's going to do. Robust import.
Where's your? Where are you?
I'm down in the October section now.
I'm looking at your screen right now.
September goes.
Oh yeah, horizontal and vertical stroke point detection would be interesting. But for me, maybe I think because I'm going to work definitely with amount of contrast. So the question is if this can be done in a very simple way in the import. Just see when it looks like a horizontal or vertical extrema. Just add some class, and maybe this works already because we have now the ways to import class names. Maybe just we could just add some classes on import and use them. Maybe this is just the fastest way to.
I'm sorry, I've lost track.
This the second bigger point in that list were October, I think, or whatever it was.
Okay. I'm sorry. So you were talking about this.
I was just maybe thinking loud. Yeah, this one. I think this is something, but maybe I'm just when I need it, I'm going to do something to make it work.
Okay. So the first thing, planning. So did you review tasks from the Zurich report?
I had this meeting with Peter, and we had like very intense talks about UX tasks and his like what he thought and what I think how it's doable, and I think we are much more in sync right now. And one thing I would say it's done. Yeah, I think we are basically we know most of the things everybody wants to have, and we have some ways to do it, but it's not. It's in a way it's far too early to me to say everything will work exactly as Peter is designing it. But some of the ideas.
I'm not worried about what Peter's designed very much.
Yeah.
It's suggestions about how things should be in
the
ideal state.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the next thing, the next really bigger nut to crack for the whole project is to set up, to make it perform good, the engine, and to set up the API that lets interfaces talk to the engine and
Right.
propagate changes to the interface, stuff like that.
Right.
So, but I think because this work will probably begin when I'm in the design phase, maybe Ruben and Ben will have to kick this up. I mean, I can help thinking about it.
Okay. So number 3, better pens. Is that done?
I would say yes. We are doing it as we talked about. Exactly 160, I think that was it.
Okay.
160 was really killer.
Yeah. So we got the homepage demo up. That was good. So the event sourcing project.
This is what I was talking about. The API to talk. Yeah, this is really one big task. We should have smart all those smart people thinking about it.
Yeah.
Ruben had this idea to also like record changes as CPS, which is interesting. I don't know how to make it work.
So I want to try and get Ruben to understand what Pippin did for his puzzle tile-based font editor.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. Ruben is definitely the right person to.
Yeah, because when I'm looking at CPS, I really, I just see this as a huge dictionary, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Style dictionary, right? That's what you call it in the code.
Yeah, this is style dictionaries is a way of reading CPS. The interesting thing is, I think it's a little bit more complex than a dictionary because you can the selectors are like very powerful kind of keys. So you can, for example, have 10 rules with the same selector and define different keys within these, and you will just get a merged version of it and stuff like that. So it's kind of a super powerful dictionary that does weird merging stuff for you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just got to run. I'll just be back in a second.
Huh? Oh.
Okay. Right. So generate binary font. So this is that's the issue which we want Frank Crampy to work on. So let's move that up to the top.
And let's start with API design, because this is Yeah, we just, I think the task will essentially be implementing an API that we define, right?
I'm sorry, just a second. I was just shuffling some things around. I'm sorry, the API definition.
We should define the API, what it does, and how we are going to use it, and then Frank can just implement it, and when it's ready, we can use it.
Yeah. Okay, so generate biofiles. Okay, so yeah, I'll ask the prototypo people about that. Yeah, move. Okay, I'm sorry, just looking in September goals number 8, UFO to CPS mappings.
This works.
The glyph groups to CPS class.
Yeah.
Okay. So then,
it's done in 171. Ruben has one question about the poll, but it's soon there, yeah.
okay.
And point classes, which is so yeah. Points can have class names right now, and glyph classes are imported. With some, maybe there's some details of working because of the way, for example, kerning classes are defined by convention in UFO using dots as separator, and separator as dots is not good in a CPS selector, but the solution would be to escape the dots, which is still working, but the code is not unescaping the escapes.
Right.
But I think kerning classes is not so interesting at the moment. I can maybe file a bug for it to handle escapes in CPS correctly. I think there are other situations where we don't do it very good.
Yeah.
But this is really a detail, so this is nothing which will stop us from working with the stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So parameter stuff is all done.
Yeah, this is done.
Okay. So classical components is not there.
No, not there. Missing.
No problem. Oh wow, so more parameters is all done too.
This is an interesting thing. Maybe I wouldn't.
Constraints is missing.
Yeah, this is not hard to implement. Maximum constraints. It's just operators in CPS formula. That should be done for us. More parameters. Maybe we should be more. This is like could be like a task that kind of collects like something like more parameters. It's maybe CPS improvement or so.
Okay.
It's easier. Maximum constraints. Maximum constraints is really easy. This is like a whatever 2 or 3 hours job.
And you do that as part of your design.
Yeah, if I really need it, I'd do it. Yeah. But yeah, I can do it. Yeah, it's no problem. No, this is really easy.
Okay. So outline contour, that wasn't done.
No, that would be really like a nice to have, but we need I think, because this will just bring us in the position where we just can like do, for example, interpolation with every input, I think. Yeah, there's for the outline import task, there's one interesting thing that we need to decide at some point if we want to import a contour as outline or not. I'm not sure how to do it.
Okay.
Because I think as far as it goes for markers or so, we are using UFO version 2 as import, and UFO version 2 doesn't give us. Right. Even UFO version 3 does not give us really good tools to do this. But UFO version 2 is worse.
It doesn't have tools to do what?
To decide if a contour should be a outline or a contour should be a pen stroke.
Isn't it a number of pairwise number of points?
Yeah, we could do that, but it's not like true for all outlines that we want to import. Maybe some outlines, maybe there are like contours we want to import as outline, but they meet our requirements for you know. But I was just thinking, so because I just always thought it would be nice to mark up the contour. I'm just in the UFO version 3. No, I should go to the UFO version 2. So my contour, I think contour is not taking anything as attribute that helps us in this.
Yeah.
In this point, and I think in UFO version 3, contour at least takes an identifier which could be hijacked to do something like that. But it's still no good idea, I think. So the contour, this is really a thing. Maybe we should run it up to the UFO process, that we have something like classes for contours that we can in the future. But until then, we maybe we just pick the first point and read its name, and if there is something like a magic string in it, then it's marked up for something like that. I think this is the closest to what we want to do. guideline. But the UFO, okay. Yeah, this is maybe this is just, or we read all points, and if one point has the magic string in it, then we know what to do. Something like that, I think. It's really, and in our own data we can use maybe the lib element to store the data.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Just I'm getting under the forum here. So the better pen details is done. New parameter type is done.
Yeah, no, it's not done. But we don't use it at the moment, and it's just it's
not done.
No to do, but rather a thing we can think about if we need it one day.
Yeah.
Optimizations is not done.
Right. Okay.
Plugin interfaces is not done.
Yeah.
Refactoring is done.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to leave that up. Where's it gone? So the better pen, is that completely done?
Yeah. From the perspective that we had, it's implemented. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, there are maybe probably still a lot of ways how to improve, like the model how to draw with the pen. But what I was describing back then, this is done.
Okay. All right.
What is tried out? No, I'll look at that myself. Oh. I think I will do some more testing. Some skeleton transformations. Trying to make this more like a general recipe how to do it. So.
Yeah. Okay, so there's this refactoring section.
Yeah.
That's all done?
That's all done with the CPS formulae.
Okay, wow. Great.
Oh, well, one point is not done, but it is not important.
Mm-hmm.
It's the skeleton data needs a more robust location, or maybe the location where it was back then is just became more robust. Could interpret it like that. Yeah, well, I think it's okay because maybe we changed it, but but I think it's not so important anymore. It's just a implementation detail. It's not something to worry too much about.
Okay. Okay. So sorry, I'm just going to shuffle this up as well. So the better pen is all done.
Yeah.
That was described somewhere earlier up in better pens. Yeah. Okay.
Rounded corners, I'm not sure how easy this is going to be.
That's okay. That's not a problem. I think, I just split that out into like November.
Because the problem is with rounding UFO that it introduces, I think, new points to the outline, and
Yeah. I mean,
this makes it incompatible.
Right. Yeah.
But still, if we are like okay with exporting at some point after interpolation, exporting instances that don't have compatible outlines anymore, so why not?
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, but it does not quite fit into the world of interpolation very well.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see when we really care about this. I think that the nicest thing about the rounded corners plugin is the ink trap creation, so that it should be and this is the opposite of rounded corners, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is more or less the opposite of rounding corners. Is ink traps.
Okay. So new parameter types. So this is not done.
No, but it's not. It's not so that we are really missing these. It's more like we should maybe just keep the list around. Well, maybe we don't even need to keep the list around. So I would, for example, maybe add a Boolean parameter type and use it to control some aspects of how the outline is created.
Yeah.
Which, for example, is hiding one outline and displaying the other outline at some point, which could be used to do some things like Metapolator does, I think, more or less the same way, to let appear whatever serifs at a certain width or something.
Yeah.
So something, a Boolean parameter used with a display yes or no parameter on a contour or pen stroke or whatever, and then we could switch it on and off using classes, I think, or something along those lines. But yeah, so could be really useful, but just having a Boolean parameter, for example, is not like hard work. Just needs to be done. So the harder work is to set up the display, the logic where this parameter is used.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something like those things there could be a good way to control how the drawing of the glyphs is happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. These plugins, we can just get that. So Shadow World.
Yeah, basically point one. Yes, we have the we have the same problems everybody has with pens. It's nothing new, and it's maybe not
Yeah.
maybe not really like a thing we have to solve right now. But the other workaround is, I think, complicated and it's not really obvious how to do it. Or the one workaround, and the other workaround is just don't use the pen exactly like you would use a broad nib pen made out of wood and steel.
Yeah.
So it's just our pen is not a pen as you find it in a draw, like as a drawing tool that you use with your hand. Our pen is a pen that is like a concept how to
Yeah, I even think that we should maybe avoid using the word pen.
Yeah, maybe, because this is exactly the kind of criticism that happens when you say it's a pen.
Yeah.
Rotating, not perfectly hard, and scaling the skeleton. This is, I think, we can control this point where you. But I consider angle change. I think probably one of the greatest reasons for why skeleton would be rotated is to create angle stress. No, stress is no rotation. It's it's a skewing transformation.
Yeah.
But whatever. So yeah, and it's but it's rotating some of the points. I think I will try to. This is good fun to do. I will try to set up a reasonable setup for the interpolating example that I have, where we can work with transformations. And so I want to. So because I think the ultimate goal for the thing I showed before is to have interpolation, obviously, and to have fixing points at some interesting positions, which we are doing not in the current example, and having transformations of the skeleton, but so fixing points is the next thing. But I think we need more scaling, which is pretty stable already, and I'd like to try out to do more interesting transformations with the skeleton. But I think it's just a way to figure out how to do it. We can already do it. It's just question is what is a good way to do it and where's the best point to apply these transformations, stuff like that. Fixing points. Then transformations. Skew and rotate, they are more or less. But we already had like rotation working in a simple example. That was one of the first things I tried out, and this pretty much worked very well.
No, just yeah, silly this. Yeah, that boring.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Just it's okay.
I'm sorry, Larsa. You were saying.
I was saying that that I was going to try out some to set up my example font with some more useful stuff that we will have to do and see how it plays together and how to do it, because this is actually I think most important to now get ideas how everything plays together and where everything is to happen.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, so I guess, and then that should be sort of like the October thing, maybe. So like
This is kind of for me, I think, starting to use the tool, right? I need demo, yeah. It's okay. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right. because I mean, we already have the interpolation example, which is a great start for it. Just making it complete, and then we are pretty close to a good demo, I think.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the file format, does that need to happen any sooner?
Please repeat.
File
Does
format.
it? Uh,
This is all done, isn't it?
yeah, I think the cons are not really cons. It would be a nice discussion, but it's kind of I discussed it myself, and I think current model feels like relatively good. Yeah, maybe we are going to change some things on this, or maybe we are going to handle it differently. But this is nothing we have to tackle right now. I think it's just it's yeah. It's I think it's something we will just that will stay around. So maybe it's
But we can just leave it.
yeah, it's just long running. Will we?
Yeah.
You know, just keep in mind that we still can discuss how we treat stuff and how we save it on disk.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just call the whole point differently. So stuff we can consider forever, or which is I think kind of this is not really a to-do list. It's just kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think it's good. So there's also this point about code quality. Do we need to do anything to address that?
we are we have some tests which are helpful in a lot of cases. We are doing very minimal testing, but trying to like keep real to what's happening. But we should always writing more tests is I think in general a good thing. Oh, I by the way added set up Travis for you for OJS, so now it's better for me to see when people are submitting changes to that.
Great.
So this is kind of good. So tests, I think, is more tests is really a good thing because it really helps us to find out where stuff breaks, and it helps us to see how it was. At least when we change how things work, it helps us to see what kind of expected behavior we change and so on. So it's kind of a super documentation for developers. So you break it.
Yeah.
We see that you broke it.
Yeah.
You break it on purpose. You see what kind of thing you did, and so yeah, testing is very good. We should write tests. Problem is that it's like always taking time. So we try to write powerful tests that use a lot of our code.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we should add that to the.
And what we are doing right now, which is a good thing, we started with peer reviewing all pull requests. So when Ruben wants to put something, I'm reviewing it and the other way around. This should be kept up. So and in times where there are more than one developer on the project, there should be peer reviewing, because this really is good quality measure.
Yeah, definitely.
UFO.js is fully tested.
Okay.
There are some little things missing. I'm going to do this when I have time. But when someone wants to change UFO.js, he should write a test as well for it, because then we can keep the quality. And a Metapolator, it's like if you don't know what to do, just write tests.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. So in terms of October, oh, hang on. There's some other stuff in September that wasn't done, right? Okay, and then in the old roadmap, at the very bottom of the document,
There's, yeah.
so our developers can create font instances for masters using the Metapolator v2 technology. So we don't have the export yet.
We have an export, but not in the interface, but we can
just in the
export instances in the command line.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And the technologies have matured. So the plugin mechanism, we ended up doing everything in CVS.
Parameter import. Yes, maybe we yeah, something exactly, something ended up in doing it in CPS and something is maybe postponed, or there's currently no real use for it. But I think we will at one point have a clear vision what we need to do to really make a everything is a plug-in architecture, I think. But Metafont is kind of, yeah, we just kind of dumped it at the moment.
Yeah.
We don't. I think we at the moment we are further away from an idea of a plugin API than we were back then, because we changed some things. But so one idea is of course that we can do maybe really a lot in the end within CPS, and what we can't do with CPS then should be doable with plugins. So still with wait, yeah, maybe we can create CPS that just does on a normal master with and wait for us, which would be just great, or yeah, stuff like that. I think plugins would be rather stuff we can't do with CPS. So
yeah,
different ways of importing. We don't need it right now, but it would be a nice offer to people who want to, you know, experiment with fun technology,
yeah,
as well as how we produce the outline. This could be all handled more flexible, because we would have like this CPS engine and ways of storing stuff, but what exactly happens could be defined by the people and could be really interesting. But I think at the moment we are not so focused on plugin API.
yeah, yeah.
Application model. Yeah, broker API. This is still the big task. How do we marry the stuff? Of course, we have a data model. We have like CPS and MUM and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the big thing, the big engineering task that still needs to be done. Is tied to broker API as well, probably. But the broker API, when our command API is good enough, this should lead to the way how to implement a broker.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move this to the top. And then, all right, so I think I can take all of that and put it onto the wiki.
Hmm.
or are there? No, that wasn't right. Okay, so I'll paste this to Google Plus.
Oh, you're impressed. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so then. Cool. Cool. All right. I think that's good, man. I think that. Oh, hang on. This is got messed up. Right. So you've got stuff to do. Ruben's got stuff to do. Ben's got stuff to do. Frank's got stuff to do. See how fast then Frank can work on that. Right. Do you think that prioritization is good? Right.
Yeah, I think. Interpolation, demo, tests. Well, tests is kind of we always need more tests. Binary reference is good, and it would be perfect, really, if Frank could do it. We should, as I said, before Frank starts, just have a vision how, like, an idea how the API should look like. But yeah. Then 6, please show me next. Exporting view, for instance, it's good. Yeah, I mean, looks good. I can have look at the file myself. Ugh, okay.
Sorry.
I don't have permission to access the file that you posted on Google
Oh, shit. All right. Sorry. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So interpolation, binary forms, good. Robust import. Yeah, that's an interesting thing installed. Yeah, we did not do more, put more work in it since then. Classical components and outline contours is it's You have guidelines. Oh yeah, guidelines. Nice. So when do we merge the red pill into the blue pill?
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I think it's a good point for Jeroen to start to align with our coding style, anyways.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I do it like that. Yeah, we will have to talk about this anyways in detail when it's time to do this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I agree. I think that's that. I think that's that covered. Yeah. Cool. All right. Nice. Well, yeah, I've shared that. I'll send an email to Jeroen about it. And I've shared it with everyone so they should take a look. Let me just share that with Jeroen. Yeah. Great. Okay. Oof. So yeah, I think that's clear. I think it's going to be clear for Ben what to work on. Actually, that's a point. We had profiling. Do we have speed profiling in this?
Do we have profiling
Like
in the list? You mean?
Yeah.
Didn't you and when you do it, or maybe just did you write it?
Point number 7.
Yeah. Part of the task should be to make a common way how we can profile the project, like some API that does the testing or so. I think there is something in the console.log or console module in the browsers that is very useful for this stuff. Whatever, but just a way. So if someone needs to profile something that he doesn't need to search all the tools, that would be useful. So this would be cool to have just a short entry. Maybe we should set up useful tools. We have something like that on the wiki already. So useful tools for profiling, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Optimization, profiling, like the November ideas, optimization, the profiling issue clearly leads to where we are actually going to do the optimizations. Sometimes you think stuff is slow, but it's just not that stuff. It's something totally different. So it's better to measure it. Yeah, great.
All right.
Sounds
good. We'll get some dinner.
Hmm?
I think that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. Was a big big session.
Yeah, that's good though. So yeah, I think that roadmap looks good. If you can post some, if you can make a little quick screencast, even just using Hangouts on air to do a kind of short demo of the interpolation.
Maybe I can just cut it out of the screencast, right?
Maybe I'm not sure.
I don't want to spend too much time with shit like that. Screencast like the last one, or should I add some information to it, like talk on it, which I don't like so much, or?
I don't think you need to.
Okay, well, whatever. Screencast, like the last one.
I mean, should we just do should we end this now and then do another Hangout on air for like 2 minutes, and then you just show me, and then we're done?
Show it again.
Yeah.
Actually, I need some food now. I'm not in the right mood, I think.
No.
But you want to have it soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, something this week would be good, because on Monday, then the Google engineers come back.
Right.
And it's really good to have something to show them, because at the A-Type I conference, they were asking me for a demo, and then I said, oh yeah, we'll do it, and then they kind of forgot about it, which is kind of lucky because the demo that we have isn't, everything. So having the interpolation stuff in the video, I can email them. That would be great.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do it. But I'm going to get some water because my mouth is quite dry, and I'll be back in a minute or so.